It's War Dragon time, RPW here with another episode of Back to the Basics. Now, before we get started, make sure if you have not already to hit the subscribe button and of course, leave a comment below, share the video, and don't forget to hit that bell so that whenever we do post a video, you won't miss out. All right, so today we're going to be going over the basic things you need to know, the 4 different things that's going to really strengthen your base. You know, this isn't going to be very, very detailed in each one, but it's going to be the 4 ways to strengthen your base generally, okay? So the first thing is going to be tower priority. You know, you need to have a priority in what you build and upgrade. Number 2, base boosts. This is very important, especially if you don't understand that you can do this in, like, for example, wars, runes and glyphs. Like, you really need to understand how these work. Number 4, of course, and this is the riders and the perches. Now, these are very different, but they're very much the same. All right, so the first one, tower priority. What do I mean by tower priority? If you'll notice here, this guy's like, okay, should I build a red mage or should I build a lightning tower? Well, you need to really think about the future whenever you're upgrading things on your base. So if you're level 20, it's not really that big a deal. But let's say you're level 60 to a level 100 and you continue building up something you may not need in the future, then you're wasting your resources. So really find what your priority is. Now, in order to find what your priority might be, is using guides, whether it be on YouTube or anywhere, or look at other players' bases that you might want to emulate and try to only build and build up those towers. Now, I know at a certain level, you can't build certain towers, but let's say, for example, you want a flak one day, and you know that you're going to replace a lightning tower with that flak, but you know that you're going to end up keeping your red mage, your storm tower, and your blue mage, then only build those up and let the others stay small, because you know that as soon as you get to a certain level, you're going to end up dumping those anyways. So that is how you choose what your tower priority is. You know, and remember that these things kind of change depending upon what the dragon resist might be. But again, I would just go find somebody who has a base that you want to emulate, that you think has a great base, maybe someone on your team, and you can kind of choose your tower priority as you build in that manner until you unlock things like dark flax or, you know, ice turrets or whatever it might be. Okay, so when it comes to, for example, your base boosts, now this is something that you're going to have to use resources for. So you may not want to use this all the time. It might only be whenever you're under attack in Atlas, like if you're going to go out and do a glory raid, or if you're having a war or whatever it might be. This is just going to give your base a 30% increase. Now, there's other ways to get boosts. For example, there's a seasonal boosts, but in general, this is the way that you're going to boost it. You're going to go into one of those towers. There's several across your base, and you're going to select the boost. Now, just keep in mind, when you select those boosts, it's only for that region or that island. So some will have one island, some will have like the very, very last 2 islands. That one tower does both of those. And in the very center, there's actually 2 towers that do those. So one does the front section, one does the back section. So you'll have to actually boost those separately, which is why having a small base is better, because you're not having to boost everything from one end of the island all the way to the end. So you want to try to minimize what it is you have to boost so you can save these valuable resources. Now you're going to notice in the tab it says runes. In the same section is where you're going to find where you can click and equip your runes, or you can even upgrade these whenever you've equipped them. Now, what are the runes for? Runes are going to give you an added attack to certain types of towers, or a certain amount of HP, or depending on what it is, it can even give you a better, you know, rate when it comes to how much lumber you're producing. So with this, you're going to make sure that anytime that you equip one, that they match the towers on that island. For example, here you see the legendary ice flak HP, and there is an ice flak there. And then at the bottom, there's a legendary dark flak attack glyph, but there is a dark flak on the island. You wouldn't want to do, like, for example, a mage super shot or a mage HP or something, because there are no mages on that specific island. So make sure that whatever you equip as a rune is going to actually affect whatever is on that island. Otherwise, you're going to have to just waste the rune altogether or pay to have it removed. So just try to pay attention to that. Now, when it comes to perches and riders, now again, riders are an amazing thing to add, but you don't always have that option, especially as a smaller player. So let's look at perches first, what just having a perch can do for you. Now this is again going back to tower priority. You're going to want to build up one specific perch in an area where it's really going to help you. But what dragons do you choose? Well, that depends on the level of that dragon, and the class will depend on what you're wanting to put on that perch. For example, if you just put an epic dragon on there, let's say you've only built it up to level 4, and the only dragon you can put on there is an epic dragon, it's not adding any benefits, it's just a visual aid, it's just pretty. But let's say that you've built it up a little more, and you've bred a little more, and you've got yourself an epic dragon. Then you're going to have a perch island protecting those islands itself from whatever element is hitting you. So for example, if you put a fire dragon on your perch, then it's going to protect and give a buffer against anybody that's fighting you with a fire element dragon. So it's basically like putting up a totem, for example. So keep that in mind. If you use a legendary dragon, however, it'll depend on the type of dragon you're utilizing, whether it's a sorcerer, hunter, or warrior. I don't think they've put anything out there for the invoker yet, but the legendary will decide which of those benefits you'll get from each classification. But you also get whatever the epic dragon gives you. So if you have a sorcerer, you're not only going to get whatever element that dragon is as a buffer, but it's also going to give you super shots that are more effective and damaging shots that will do a little bit more damage. So whenever your towers are attacking off that specific island, it's going to do a little more damage. Also, shields will have longer HP and last longer. Resource buildings will heal for a greater amount. If you have a hunter, it'll increase the attack speed of your towers on the island. And then if you have a warrior, it will increase the health of all towers on the island. And again, remember, they're also going to have the benefits of the epic. As for a mythic dragon, which is when you get way up there, a mythic dragon is going to give you the same benefits as we've already discussed within the epic and the legendaries. But the mythic is going to also give you, depending upon which class, an added benefit. So for example, a sorcerer will increase the chance for the super shot to not consume your ammo. So whenever someone's going super shot, clicking on those, if you have a mythic sorcerer on there, there's times that you might get extras. They may not consume one. If it's a hunter, it's going to increase the chance for a building to fire 2 shots each attack. So one particular building might send out 2 shots versus just 1. And then if it's a warrior, it's going to give an increased chance for a building to create an own shield on itself, preventing damage. So again, if you have a mythic, you're going to have everything that the mythics add, everything that the legendaries add, and everything that the epic adds. But again, these are going to be based upon which class of dragon you utilize. Now, there is another thing you can add to these perched dragons once you have the ability, which is the riders. Now, there are defense riders, in the events itself that you can utilize, like these ones, but there's also the ability to go and actually build one up in Atlas itself. Now, I personally have Tannock, as you'll see here, and with Tannock, I've got tons of boosts on my base just from adding him to my perched dragon. So, being that I have a mythic sorcerer dragon on my base, I'm getting increased chance for super shot not to consume. My super shots are more effective. Damaging shots will do more damage. Shields will have more HP and last longer. Resource buildings will heal for a greater amount. And because it's a fire element, I'm also getting a buffer when it comes to anybody attacking me with a fire dragon. Then on top of this, Tannock is giving me 103% building attack boost, a 7% construction time decrease, a 12% lumber mill wood capacity, and a 92.7% building HP. Now, this isn't just for adding the riders. This is a rider that's been leveled up and has gear as well. So as you build him up and you get better and better gear on him, the better those buffs become. So if you are wanting to change up your base and make it stronger, then these are going to be the 4 strategies you're going to want to use when building and changing up your base in any manner. Again, tower priority, deciding which tower is more priority to you than another, using your base boost at the right time, utilizing runes and glyphs properly and building them up. Using those perches and understanding what dragons do what for it, as well as getting riders, attaining their gear, and leveling them up. Now, again, this is just 4 ways. There are several things that you can do between tower placement, the way you place things, but these are going to be your 4 basic ways. Anyways, guys, I really appreciate you stopping by today. I can't wait to see you guys for next week's video here on Back to the Basics. Anyways, if you like my video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and happy flying!